Hey everybody, Zach here for High Voltage Guitars. This is another video where we break down one of the products we carry in our shop so you guys can better understand just a little bit about some of the things that we have in our store. On this video, we have the Two-Rock Burnside combo. We're gonna break down what the Burnside is, what its sound is, who it's for and who it's not for, as well as give you guys some sound samples so you can really hear what this amp can do. Okay, so what is the Burnside? The Burnside is Two-Rock's interpretation of the classic wide panel Tweed combo that we saw coming out of California in the 50s. The wide panel combos were a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more in your face and raw than some of the things that came later. Those amps were always trying to get cleaner and more powerful, but those early amps have a real unique characteristic to it that I know the guys from Two-Rock love. And this is a love note to that iconic topology. The Burnside is 28 watts with two 6L6s and one GZ34 rectifier tube. And in the preamp, there is a 12A-Y7 that gives the preamp a cleaner voice. Now, if you want a little bit more aggression out of it, you can swap in a 12A-X7 and really start to push the gain in the preamp of the amplifier. On the face of it, you just have your input, a bright switch, volume, treble, bass, and presence. And all of those controls are really interactive, so you can take it from really clean to pushed to almost falling apart, distorted fun. It's incredibly responsive and feels really good under your fingers to play. On the back, you have a passive effects loop, 4, 8, and 16 ohm outs for your speaker, and this cabinet is pine, just like those classic Tweed amps from California. You can get it in a combo, the small combo, or a head and cab. I think the Burnside might be Two-Rock's most overlooked amp, and people don't really understand what it is because it's so different. But it really speaks to their design philosophies in making things that are incredibly simple and really fun to play. So what is the sound of the Burnside? The Burnside, like I said, is that sort of iconic Tweed voice, but it's not like a deluxe or smaller combos from that era. This, being 28 watts, is a lot more powerful and a lot more open sounding with really rich harmonics and a really responsive touch when you're playing it. The EQ and volume controls let you really dial in a lot of gain if you need it, but you can turn the treble knob and bass knobs back to clean it up because how they interact with the circuit is really interesting and something that you don't really see from a lot of amps being made today. The Burnside does not have a master volume, so at 28 watts it's really loud despite being a really small combo. For most gigs, this thing is going to be plenty loud and you're way louder than most drummers out there. And if you can throw a mic on it, even with it dialed back clean, it's going to function really well. And it takes pedals really well in the front or through the effects loop. So, who is this amp for or not for? Like I said, if you need something small that's easy to take to a gig, that immediately gets a tone, then the Burnside might be something for you. If you've wanted to experiment with Tweed sounds but found the smaller combos just not loud enough or interesting enough, then again, the Burnside might be something that will appeal to you as a guitar player. If you need that flexibility, if you need a master volume, if you need something that you can easily play at home or the gig, this might not be the right amp because it's pretty loud. You can turn it down and get some really clean tones, but I think where this amp really shines is when you crank it up and get that saturation, the harmonics, and the interactivity of all the knobs going. That's what makes the Burnside so special. So let's do some playing examples. We're gonna do some clean stuff, some push stuff, and then we're gonna really crank it up so you can hear what the Burnside can do. Okay, for some clean playing, I have this Fano JM6 running into the Burnside. In the effects loop, I have the Strymon Flint to add a little reverb. So we've got the volume set at about a little past 9 o'clock, treble at about 11 o'clock, bass at 9 o'clock, presence at around 1 o'clock, and the bright switch is on, and it sounds like this. All right, for some more pushed Tweed drive sounds, grab my Les Paul loaded with ThroBak SLE 101s, also available at High Voltage. plugged into the Burnside. We made the Flint a little more subtle here, but what we did with the amp, bright switch off, volume at about 1 o'clock, treble at noon, bass at about 10, and then presence all the way off. And it sounds like this. All right, and last but not least, we've dimed the input, treble at about 1, bass at noon, presence at about 10, bright switch off, and I went and grabbed my Castadosa Alcone baritone guitar. If you want one of these, we can custom order you one at High Voltage Guitars, but plugged into this, with nothing else going, sounds like this. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something about the Two-Rock Burnside amp. I feel like this amp is often overlooked because it's so simple, but as you can hear, it sounds great. If you want to learn more about it, go to highvoltageguitars.com or send us an email. We can answer any questions you have. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the things, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.